Welcome to the Tom Bernard Show with
co-host Kathryn Brandt,
Alex Bernard Rasmussen,
Andy Bernard,
and Kristen Burt.
Kristen Burt. I'm surprised you're on today, Kristen, because I saw that news article about you.
Oh, if you say Southwest Airlines,
where would you ever think that's what I was going to say? What do you mean?
Wow, she knows you really well.
I do.
After all these years.
I'm now privy to the show before the show.
There you are.
Banter. So
yep, a little bit.
People would love the show before the show. It's always good.
Andy complaining about the levels, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, what a time to have a psychotic break is on an airplane seat or in an
Yeah,
airplane seat. And then
no.
also you just go.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Tom's got the story.
Woman got naked on Southwest flight, banged on the cockpit door. And does anybody know, Kristen, why she did this?
She let it out.
Mental breakdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
A total mental
What more can
breakdown.
you say?
I guess she was running around naked for quite some time before they did an emergency landing. And I get, according to social media, she was also rubbing up against the staff. She was
I feel like flight attendants should be able to have like tranquilizer darts.
a net.
Jurassic
and
Park darts.
Yeah, and then like a little area, like a little closet to keep anybody that needs to be tranquilized.
don't they have like the plastic zip ties? For
Yeah, I
Yep,
think
handcuffs?
they do.
I know,
Yeah,
but
they
you
do.
got to catch them first.
That's why you need the tranquilizer dart.
Can you imagine the national news if they threw a net over a black woman?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my God!
can't do
Because she
that.
was a black woman.
Yeah.
You probably can't do a
That
tranquilizer
would
dart
I don't
either.
think that would go over too well in the national news.
Chloroform.
Chloroform would be good. Just knock her out. with
Chloroform.
chloroform.
The optics of some guy just sneaking up behind her and going like this to her face with some chloroform. Yeah.
Well, the other thing, she's naked, so there's really no good way of even touching her without
No.
it turning into a thing.
That's
you know?
probably
This is
why you
true.
didn't see passengers. You know, oftentimes passengers will jump in to help.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yes,
was
time.
probably very hesitant to help because of that situation.
Oh, absolutely.
No
Absolutely.
question.
Yep.
All right, I have to run this by because there are 3 women and 2 men on the show right now. So for the 3 women, and Andy, you can weigh in on this too. The new trends sweeping the nation as far as fashion is concerned. One-legged pants.
Oh, they've tried that before.
Yeah, we talked about
Anything,
that
anything.
we talked about this like 6 months ago, didn't we?
I think so, but it's blowing up apparently.
Yeah, well, it's the spring fashion week stuff, and all
Oh,
that,
that's true,
Or that's all over, but I mean that's what comes over on the runway. Lots of ruched and cutouts and very complicated. I wouldn't even know how to put on a dress with all of that stuff going on. It's like how do you get this on?
And how does that translate to everyday wear? I think that's the big thing. Maybe,
Yeah.
Gen Z wears it for like a hot minute and then
Oh,
it goes
yeah.
away. But I don't see like I don't see millennials and Gen X and boomers going like can't wait to wear one pant. Like,
Well, as a millennial gamer, the first thing I think of when I see pants like that is Final Fantasy, because in those games, everyone's always extremely asymmetrical. You've always got like one shoulder pad here and then none here, and then like one of your pant legs is shorter than the other.
Okay.
I don't know. It's very cool in Japan in like the early 2000s. So maybe it'll come back. Maybe they'll have a bunch of zippers and chains on their clothes too.
Sure.
Kingdom
I like
Hearts.
how your mother's coughing, but she didn't turn my mic off, just hers.
Oh, I didn't think you could catch it that bad.
Oh God, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, it's not.
sensitive
Well,
mic.
coughing is coughing. What are you going to do?
What are you gonna
Okay,
do?
one other thing. One bit of information which everybody's upset about, and then the other one I gotta run this by all of you too. This Sunday, Spring Forward. Andy and Kathryn do not like Spring Forward.
No.
Kristen, Alex, what do you got? Do you care?
Do you want to go first?
I don't really care. I don't know. Like,
Well, the nice thing
when
about
my-
kids is they don't know time really.
Yeah.
So it's like they're going to sleep a normal amount of time anyway. They're not going to look at
Yeah.
the clock and be like, "Oh boy, it's
You don't,
7:30."
you don't
I know,
think they're
but
going to get
Head's
up an hour
more pain.
earlier?
Yeah, but he's going to lose an hour of sleep.
Yeah.
No, he'll sleep a normal amount of time
But then he'll be
because
off.
technically he'll be waking up at 8:30 then. But oh well.
But you're
Then-
off. You're still off because you lose that hour on Saturday night. It takes about a week for your body to adjust, and that's why they say this is the week with the highest rate of heart attacks and
Oh.
car accidents.
Well
Just
then.
the weird adjustment for people is it throws everybody off when we fall back or spring ahead. And as much as I love, because I like to take like a 7 p.m. walk, so I love that having that, the light and
Right.
everything else.
I do too.
But my cats go insane. It's like just even trying to readjust them to their feeding time. And they're animals. Like they don't understand.
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
just be like, hey, dude, it's we sprung forward. You can't eat right now.
Yep.
No.
All right, and then one more headline. You don't even, if you want to comment on it, you can, but you don't have to. The one last headline I want to read is Jelly Roll said he's so fat that he lost a bunch of weight and he's still fat.
Good old Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
I think he looks good.
Does he
He
now?
looks really good. Yeah.
I haven't seen him.
If you pull a photo up, he looks really good.
I've never met him, but I've heard from a number of people he's a really nice guy.
Yeah,
Like, really
I mean,
nice.
everybody loves him. Everyone loves working with him, and I think he's just like a guy that just has a broader structure. So he lost the weight. He looks
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
better for his health. So
Sure. Absolutely.
I think that's probably true. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it for the teaser news. And now, Kristen Burt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC equal housing lender. What's happening, Kristen Burt?
CBS is going crazy with all their cancellations and pickups, for
Oh,
next
God.
season. This is kind of the time of year. But SWAT, which has been on for 8 seasons, has been canceled for the 3rd time. And they're saying that this is it.
Really?
Because they've canceled it after season 6 and canceled it after season 7. They keep on taking it back. But I think they're serious this time because Shamar Moore, who is the star of the show, has already made a very public pledge to Netflix, begging them to pick it up. And I think everybody always wants to find, when you want to find another home, they're like, hey, Netflix, you just said that you're going to spend $18 billion on content in 2025. There must be some room in the budget for SWAT.
Wow.
Yeah. But
Some
it
bucks.
also, the interesting thing too about SWAT is that Shamar Moore has been in the CBS family since 1994
Oh, right.
because he
Criminal
did
Minds.
Young and the Restless before that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right into Criminal Minds and now into SWAT. So it makes me curious as to CBS whether they're going to try and quickly sign him to a production deal and get him on a show for, maybe mid-season to keep him in the family because he does have enough star power that if Netflix is interested, they could do it.
Well, he's a very good guy, I've heard. I've only talked to him once in my life, but he's a very pleasant guy.
Oh, he's very sweet. I mean,
Yep.
the ladies love him. Let me tell you.
Right.
He calls his fans baby girl, so you have all of these women just swooning. And he's one of those actors that has a loyal fan base spanning over 30 years.
Wow.
It would be idiotic, honestly, for a network not to scoop him up if he's available right now.
Yeah, that does make sense. I like him. He's, I've watched his show. I haven't watched SWAT much. I don't know why. I haven't watched it much, but I loved him on Criminal Minds. I thought he was really, really good on that show. I watched some of the SWATs, but not. I don't watch it every week. Let me put it that way.
Right.
You were right, Kristen, about Teague. She was lovely yesterday.
Oh, Teague was great.
It was.
She sent me a really nice text yesterday, too, and had a great time with all of you. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So she was really happy that she was able to join you guys yesterday. And I was laughing because I just, gave a little promotion to her book yesterday on social media. And I was like, it's not lost on me that I'm doing this on social media while we're supposed to be taking social media detox.
Right.
Well, today we saw a couple. They were walking hand in hand. The guy had his phone right up in front of his face, and they almost walked into a car that was coming out of a parking
Yeah,
ramp
almost.
because he's not looking.
I thought it did
no,
hit them.
No, it didn't hit
Oh, it
him.
didn't him.
And
God,
I've
it was
seen,
awfully close.
It was very close.
I've seen footage of people walking into poles and walls, and it's like, I mean, even when I'm looking at my phone, I'm aware of the world around
Yeah,
me.
like you're
Yeah.
not.
If there's a
sucked in
wall
that- yeah.
coming toward me in my periphery, I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
I would
I've
hope.
walked into a parking meter. I'll admit it.
Parking meter.
Oh, my phone.
That's nice. Very
And
nice.
it's so embarrassing. It's mortifying, especially if you're on a busy sidewalk or people are around you, and it's really made me.
Well, at least the
conscientious
parking
about not
meter is
doing it
like,
again.
it's low, so it's like it's probably blocked by your phone in your hand.
It's my height, so it's not
Exactly.
great.
So it's like, I don't know,
Oh.
but like a lamp post where you can see it's extending out into the heavens. I mean, I don't know.
I think it all depends on how engaged you are and whatever's on your screen.
suppose, yeah.
I think it's a great idea, and I love the fact that teachers are taking phones out of classrooms.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talked about that with
Yeah.
Teague. We talked about the whole yonder pouch thing, and if
Yep,
educators
they're doing
are
that in
starting to use
California.
those. Yeah.
And a lot of teachers spoke up, and I understand, like, some parents are concerned about the safety issue because of school shootings, but at the same time, the teachers are saying watching the kids detox in the classroom, because the yonder pouches came into play in the new year. It was like watching an addict, like getting off of drugs. Like
Oh,
the first
God.
couple
Wow.
of days, these kids were kind of freaking out that they couldn't get their phones, and they would hold the yonder pouches even though they had no access to them, because they keep them in their possession, but like fiddling with them and hoping that maybe they could get to them. That to me is crazy.
That is
Yeah.
crazy.
You know what's really funny about that? I followed the lead yesterday, so I have not been on social media for the last, I think, 20 hours, 22 hours, 20, maybe it's 24 hours now. I don't know. I just stayed off it
Detoxing?
because, Teague had a point and all the rest of it, and it was restful in a way, except for about an hour ago, I hopped back on. I didn't put anything up, but I just started reading some posts. I can't really, I might have to stay. She might be right, because it was either slaughtering Trump or slaughtering Biden.
Well, so you
That's
can just,
everything.
you can mute those conversations.
Well, it's everybody now. You can't mute everybody. It's that
You can mute the keywords though, so that you don't get anything that says Biden or Trump,
That's
and
a good
then
idea.
whatever's remaining.
Yeah, and you can also,
I'm going to have to. It's terrible.
yeah,
I
you can
feel
also
like-
say not interested in this post, and then they'll
Yeah.
show you fewer of those.
Yes.
And it's, I mean, I've trained my TikTok algorithm. I love it because it's animal posts. It's a cat.
There you
and
go.
It's honestly, it's great. And I literally am the person that is hoping to go out on my afternoon walk and just find a kitten, because that's what people do. They just find like little kittens, like, oh my God, a little kitten just followed me home. I'm like, I want to be that person. I want to be like the little Snow White of kittens.
No white of kittens, absolutely.
But that's a healthier place to be on social media.
Absolutely.
Now, do you remember how old were we? I was like maybe 10. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kristen doesn't know about Fred.
no.
No.
Alex and I were playing outside, and we hear this meowing coming from a tree. And we go over to the tree, and there's this cat just hanging
An
out.
orange
under the
striped cat,
Orange cat.
kind of large.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he belonged to someone.
Yeah, he looked-
but
he was
no
healthy.
one claimed him or anything. So
Called all the neighbors.
yeah, because he just
Yeah, we
you
put
took
out
him to
flyers.
I took him to the shop.
the shop. Yeah, he lived in the shop for ages, and no
Yeah.
one ever claimed him. So we were just like, well, he's our cat now, and his name is Fred. Why not?
I love it. Well,
So-
it's so sad. People often dump their pets when they move. It's
Yep.
really
Yeah, they do.
common.
They do.
And it makes me really sad because I love my cats so much and they bring us so much joy. And I can't imagine ever
No, there's
leaving
no
them
way.
behind. I mean, and even in evacuations, people leave their cats or dogs.
Well, sometimes you
behind.
can't find them. That is true. I mean,
That
cats
is
are
one
really good
thing.
at hiding when they don't want to be found.
Yeah, and some dogs ran out the door during the wildfires. Like we heard stories about that, but the rescues were able to capture a lot of them and reunite them with their owners. That's one thing. It's the people that literally just leave their pets
I
behind.
know.
Yeah, how
It's terrible.
truly, how on earth could you do that?
I know.
Doesn't
It
make
makes
any
no
sense to me.
sense.
I'd be haunted by that,
Seriously.
honestly.
See, we had the exact opposite experience this morning. Kathryn and I went for our walk with Jude, and Jude hooked up with the cat over at the dog food store, and they were all over each other, just loved one another. It was something else to see.
Yeah, they've got a shop. They have a shop kitty that if you go by and it's closed, it sits there and does this at the window, like talk to me, I'm bored. It's so cute.
So, can we elect an animal president of the United States? That'd be good.
Oh, dogs for president. I've been saying that for decades.
Dogs for
I
president.
think that would be great, like a golden retriever. Just
That'd
super
be so
sweet.
mellow, the really mellow one.
You could just be like, here's you're a good boy. Here's a bone. Here's
So
a
when I
toy.
Snack.
I want to ask you guys a question. It's a very positive question. It's not a negative question at all. But why do people get so upset by who the president is or what's going on? Because it never goes smoothly, no matter who's in office, when they're in office, or whatever. Why don't people just accept it and go, hey, we're going to get through this whole situation? I don't love Trump or Biden, and I don't hate Trump or Biden. I just, it's wearing me out watching the news, and I literally I did stay away from it for a while, but the second I get back on, it's people just going after both of them again from opposite sides, both on social media and on television.
Tom, you need a news detox.
Yep.
I
We
guess
have a
I do.
sequel-
I really
We have
do.
a
Yeah.
sequel for
Try it
Teague
for a
to
month.
write.
You what?
We have a sequel for Teague to write. After her social media detox, she's going to write the national news detox.
National news. That's a
And
good
you can be the
idea.
test case.
Because the local news is not as bad, no matter where I am. I guess you probably have your favorite local news channel, which, and I don't need anybody to agree. I don't really, does that mean I don't really have any politics? Because I don't hate either one of them, and I don't like either one of them. I'm just kind of stuck in the middle, so I don't really have,
Well,
you know.
the problem with the national news is you hear every psycho out there,
Oh, God.
every single far left, far right, and they just go at each other constantly. Yeah, so if you
They're
watch,
the squeaky wheels.
yeah, so
Yeah,
if you watch
yeah.
local news, they're talking about local stuff like
Yeah,
weather and what's
right.
going on in the community. It's just a lot more tame content.
So I've been on national news now, I would guess maybe about a full hour in the last week. And it was an hour of absolute misery. And it doesn't matter which
But you
side
keep
you watch.
going back for more.
I just said I didn't go back for more. I didn't watch it for a week.
But that's an addiction if you can't stay away from it.
It has nothing to do. I have a show to do. I have to know what's going on in the world.
Tom, you can go to Associated Press or Reuters and just get the headlines, and you will get
Yeah, probably true.
Anywhere but
unbiased.
Fox and CNN and MSNBC.
Any of those.
They're all nuts.
But honestly, I just go straight to Associated Press going, what's the rundown? Because if you read their articles, they're dry. They are very dry because they are just
Good.
giving you the facts. That's
Okay,
all
so
they're
what
doing.
about social media? Because people do send me messages, so I got to go on social media.
Yeah, I mean, you can train your algorithm like we talked about.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to do that, I think.
Yeah. You can
I'll
mute
have to
some
do that.
things and then
Jesus.
show them what you like, and maybe you need to get on your puppy algorithm. That would be nice.
Okay,
for you.
I will say this one line, the last line I heard, and I won't even say who did it. I'm not going to choose sides in this without being very obvious that it's psychopathic to say this, but in any case, I actually heard a very high-ranking official, won't say which party, who it was, or when they said it, but they said, not even the death of Martin Luther King compares to the death of George Floyd. I'm like, are you insane? They actually said that on national news. How could you say something like that?
They're just looking for a soundbite.
That's what it is, isn't it? It's all ratings. It's about money again.
It's about sound bites. It's about going viral. That's why you can't even pay attention to that stuff. It's not
I
even
can't.
worth. It's
I
not even
can't.
worth raising your blood pressure over it.
Also, I looked it up, and that happened 3 years ago almost.
Oh, and this was on TV today?
Yep.
So they're bringing it back.
Yep.
Well, they recycle a lot of stories that got a lot of national attention. They'll
And you have to be
recycle them all the time.
super careful. Like, what's the date of this article? Like, you have to go
Yeah.
and click on it because people
Yep.
don't click on it
No.
and then assume that it is factual. And that, that stuff drives me bananas because I'm like, well, this happened
Yeah.
5 years ago. What are you talking about?
Well, what about the fact, though, it is my job to know what's going on? So I'm going to have to find out I did just listen to you guys tell me. So you said Reuters does a good job?
Reuters, Associated Press. If you want to get international, BBC is good.
So no American news.
Well, Reuters is international. I mean, they have
That's
American.
true, it
They have
is,
plenty of American bureaus. Reuters has American bureaus. BBC also will give you kind of a rundown
Okay,
of what's
good.
happening. And I think that's really you get that just straight factual, just the facts. That's it.
I will do that. We'll take a break. Well, I'm glad I brought it up because I literally had to go take a nap. You can ask Kathryn. I literally saw, they said that on the national news, and I had to go take a nap. I'm like, oh my God, I can't take this anymore. But I have
That
to
is
know what's going on in
affecting
the
you.
world.
But that's affecting you, and that is not healthy.
I know it's not healthy. That's why I'm begging you guys for a way out. I mean, you just told me Reuters.
Well,
is
I'm going
the
to hold
good
it
way.
to. I'm going to hold you to it. If you go, I was watching blah 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 news. Nope.
I can't.
Oh,
I can't
I'm
do
not
it
gonna let you
anymore.
talk about it.
Local news in Minneapolis, St. Paul, or in West Palm Beach is not as bad. They don't get as hooked into it, do
I miss the old.
they? Dave Moore.
No, down here in Palm Beach, they used to have. I'm honest to God, it looked like a high school production.
It
for
was
the
very
news.
bad, yeah.
It was, but it was actually charming.
It was
Like the
Absolutely.
weatherman had a little Bichon Frise who would wear sunglasses if it was going to be sunny. And you'd have a little rain jacket if it was going to be rainy.
There you go.
I was like, I love this. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
Quaint, like just quaint news.
Exactly. Let's make
So-
it fun and interesting and cute.
This is a good way to go to a break because it's exactly what I grew up with Dave Moore and some of the greatest newscasters. Dave Moore was offered the CBS News job and turned it down. I grew up with the greatest news people in the business. And Minnesota had wonderful news people. The Majors brothers worked there, and but Dave Moore is the one guy that I will look back upon as a very honest man. And I know if Dave Moore said something, I could believe it. So I grew up counting on the news because of him. And other people too, a few other.
Different world.
It's a different world now, though. So I will follow your lead, and I'll track it down. I will, because I literally cannot take it anymore. It's all about money now. And they try to cover it up, but they keep dragging this stuff up because it's all about money. Send me more money because I'm
You're
against
done.
this.
You can't talk about this.
All
Remember?
right. Okay, we'll go to break then. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to break. Be right back in a couple of seconds. Let's take a second to talk about my bank, North American Banking Company. You've heard me talking about them for a long time now. When they opened in 1998, they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers where you know your banker and they know you. Well, a lot has changed since 1998. This commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities is not. So, if you're looking for a better banking experience, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Go to nabanco.com. Or you can stop by any of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. From Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. What's up, Allie?
Oh, not much. Doing my usual thing of telling people they shouldn't be texting and driving. In Minnesota, you can't have your phone in your hands. You can use, hands free, but you can't have your phone in your hand for whatever reason. And that's why they made the law the way they did, so that police officers could see a phone in your hand and you got no excuse for why you got it there.
Do people know that that's the law?
I hope so. I mean, they used to follow it, and then kind of COVID kind of made people forget. And now it's like a freewheeling world out there with cell phones.
Let's say you get pulled over because you do have a phone in your hand and you're not watching where you're going. You got to be in pretty big trouble then, I would guess.
Well, the first one's not as bad. It's the multiple ones, the problem. And once people start stacking them up, then they have a big problem. And then what we're doing in car accidents is we've started bringing motions for punitive damages, because I'm trying to use the civil law any way we can to stop this, because it needs to stop.
Whenever I'd had any problems in my life, who was that I called again? It was like an MB, something like that.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
Ooh, listen to that. Now we're talking. Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
We got a text from the
Yeah.
audience about the whole texting and, not paying attention to the world around you thing.
Okay.
At the car wash today, the car in front of him missed the drying cycle because they were too busy looking at their phone.
Oh.
So they had to drive away with a soaking wet car. They were just sitting there.
See?
Some people really do. Like, they look at their phone and the world just melts away. It's
amazing.
the weirdest thing. Like,
How
I
do
could
you
never.
miss the drying cycle?
Yeah,
It's
you're
very
going
loud.
through it.
Well, some of the car washes you have to actually manually drive through it.
Oh, you do?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You have
Oh, I
to-
didn't know
Some
that.
of the older ones, it's like,
well,
yeah,
you
once
sit, it's like you
you're
sit in the
still,
middle,
and then it goes around
and then
you.
the thing goes, but
Yeah.
then the drying you have to drive through.
Yeah, and you have to
Yeah.
barely touch the pedal, or you
Yeah,
go too
it's an
fast,
inch.
and then I
Oh.
don't like that kind.
Me
But
neither.
it is it's the cheapest and easiest kind. We have a nice fancy one near us now. It takes you through the whole thing, and it's got to be 100 feet long. It's got all these.
Yeah,
But
right.
ours, yeah, you just pull up and you put your car in neutral,
Yep.
and they spray your car down.
Yep.
I have
Yeah.
a black SUV, so I
Yeah, I
have
got a black hatchback.
I have a monthly.
Yeah.
Yeah. With all
We've
the
thought
slush.
about it, doing the
Salt.
subscription
I
thing.
use it all the time.
Yeah.
It's 100% worth it.
Well, Ethan calls it Carl's Car Wash
Oh,
after a
yes.
thing from Super Simple Songs.
Yeah, you
so
told us.
he just loves going through that thing because he thinks it's Carl's Car Wash.
I just thought of something. In our family, Kristen, you could be the judge of this. Is it right or wrong? In our family, we either have black cars or silver cars. That's it.
You have a white car.
Or white. Yeah, that's true. White
I
car.
was like, what about white?
No, white. What's white car?
The Mach E is white.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't really wild about that when I went home. I have a Mach E. Don't try to drive a Mach-E when it's 15 below in Minnesota because it ain't going anywhere.
I think any electric car, when it's
Any
15 below,
electric
they
car.
will not
you
hold a
came at
charge.
literally the worst week.
There's
sure
no
did.
doubt about it. Honest to God, Kristen Burt, it burned up an entire charge, which is supposed to go, 260 miles?
At least, yeah.
Yeah, 280 miles, something like that. It burned it up in about 55, 60 miles.
Yeah, it was about maybe 40%.
The cold really, it wrecks
Yeah.
those car batteries.
Was not good. That's all I know.
Yeah, I learned a lot about apps and batteries and charging stations.
No doubt about
that
it.
trip.
But so we don't buy a lot of colorful cars, so white, black, or gray. That's it.
I love colorful cars.
What do you got?
If
I
I
have a
had
blue
to choose, I would not have chosen ever to get a black car.
It's the only
or a white
option.
car.
You
I
can't.
would never choose black. or
Black,
white,
white,
ever.
and gray are like the options.
That's the standards,
silver,
yeah.
I know, I hate it.
Silver's the easiest to keep clean. I
Yep.
had a
Yeah,
silver car
it is.
before this one, and it was
Yep.
much easier.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I have we have
Bless
a
you.
green, but it's kind of silvery green. It's not like green,
yeah.
and that I feel like is on par with silver to keep looking okay. I don't know, but this black is for the birds. It's terrible. I hate
Yeah.
it. But it was
It's a nice car, though.
that or nothing. Yeah,
They
I
don't
wanna
do
talk to
gold
Kristen
cards
about-
that much. I was going to
Oh, yeah,
say.
gold cars.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
talk to Kristen about White Lotus.
Oh, yes.
If you
Uh-oh,
have
White
time.
Lotus, here we go.
4 minutes. Have you watched all 3 episodes?
I have not watched the last one that came out on Sunday because I was working Oscars. So
Yeah, it was Oscars day. Well, I've watched all of them. And what are your thoughts on the first 2?
it's not as strong a season so far as I think 1 and 2. That's my thought.
So boring.
Yeah.
All 3. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. The 3rd episode's the same thing again. All 3
Oh.
episodes are the same exact thing. And I'm like, nothing's happened.
Really?
Still,
Huh.
nothing has happened.
There has to be a payoff on this because Mike White is
to be.
a really good writer. So there has to be some big payoff coming. And, I know that they've been pushing out Walton Goggins this past couple week or so for a lot of press. And like something has to be coming in the next few weeks.
There has to be, because I thought this week was going to be the week, but maybe because it was Oscars day and it was, but I'm like, anybody can watch it anytime. I don't
Right.
get it. But it's still 3rd episode. Nothing has happened. All of these 3 episodes could have been 1 episode.
I know, which is frustrating.
It's
And-
so lame.
I know. And, the other 2 seasons were so fast. Everything was, there was something happening in every single episode to really like push the story forward. So I'm curious as to what the payoff is here.
Yeah.
I love what just happened.
What?
On my screen, Alex, Andy, there's a guy here. Kathryn, I think it's Costaki.
Well, I just kind of saw
It is.
a large
It's
jacket.
Costaki. Do you know Costaki at all, Kristen?
I didn't know he was in studio.
Yes.
Costaki Economopoulos, just a great guy. He can't hear me, can he, Andy?
No.
Nope.
he's in-
Oh, thank God.
I
Great
think
guy.
Costaki and I were on.
Yes.
We've been on recently together.
Yes.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, have you ever spent any time talking to him or anything?
On your show, yes.
He's a great guy, really good guy. He'll be on in a couple of minutes, but all right, you've only got like 2 minutes left. What else do you want to talk about?
The one thing I want to mention, because we've been talking a lot about the Gene Hackman death, there is a big press conference later on this afternoon. New Mexico investigators are going to be updating everyone on the case. The one other thing, because we've been talking about the dogs a lot, they
Yeah.
did confirm that the dog that was found dead was in a crate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Most
God.
well, and most,
Yeah.
most likely it probably died of thirst.
Right.
The whole
exactly.
thing's so awful.
So are they saying that he died of natural causes and then she died trying to get his medication?
That's going to
Wait.
take a long time.
We need toxicology and the autopsy
Right,
reports.
right.
Anything right now is pure speculation, but hopefully we'll have a few more details and maybe they have some updates on the timeline and what they're really focusing in on. So I think that's what's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
Andy, Kristen has a no Greek
Policy.
policy.
It's in my rider.
It's in her rider. No Greeks, please.
No Greeks allowed.
And by the
Greek
way,
salad.
looking at Costaki politically, he's far left. I like that. There he is.
There,
Perfect.
There we go.
Perfect.
Lovely.
So Kristen Costaki on together. I like this again.
What's up,
Good to
lady?
see you.
Good to see you.
All right, you got one more minute, Kristen,
One
before
more
you have to
minute.
blaze off to your next job.
I know. Job number 2 on the way. But the other thing I just wanted to mention, people looking for things to watch over the weekend. Heretic is finally on streaming. It's on Max. And if you want to see Hugh Grant in a totally different light, that's the movie to watch.
Hugh Grant. Wow.
Hugh Grant is just, I love that he just doesn't care anymore. He just is like, I'm going to do Bridget Jones, I'm going to do Heretic, and I'm going to do Paddington. Like,
Oh,
why
that's
not?
right. He was in Paddington.
He was
Forgot
in
about that.
Paddington was
Yeah.
good. I liked Paddington.
Fantastic.
Except for Alex's son tried to run away by going the opposite side of the theater.
Oh, they're cute.
Yes.
Honest to God.
He is
Some guy had to hold his hand up. I got him. Don't worry. I got him.
so unaware of his.
Say,
like
just, you said we were in a hurry. Well, not to run out of the
a
building.
golden retriever puppy.
I know.
don't know.
Ethan will just walk into chairs. It's like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
Oh no. Looks like your camera was unplugged. I didn't touch
You
it.
shouldn't have done that.
I didn't do anything.
What'd you do, Alex? Now you disappeared.
Where's
Now
tech
she's just a
support?
little white circle.
Kristen has to go. She has 85,000 other jobs.
Yep.
You're gonna
That's
do.
that deal. But we'll talk to you on Monday.
Yes, I will see you on Monday. I think I'll be joining by phone. Andy, I'll text you.
Okay.
Oh, big shot.
Big shot. I know I'll be at the studio.
Gotta
so-
use the satellite phone.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you on Monday by phone or in person.
By phone.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. We'll take a break. Be right back. Kostaki Economopolis in studio, ladies and gentlemen. What more could you ask for? We'll see if Alex comes back or not. We just
I don't know.
Maybe.
It's not up to me.
It's not up. It's not up to you.
I can't do anything.
Anyway, we'll be right back right after this. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold's do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser. My Pillow is excited to announce that they're having their first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98, kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 30% on their brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one that Mike has worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's sizes. They're made right here in the United States. Get the 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. The initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And the best-selling standard My Pillow is just $14.98. To take advantage of the first ever mega sale, go to mypillow.com, use promo code TOM, or call 800-516-5146. But wait. Remember that $75 shipping, free shipping rule? That one? You know that one. Well, that ship has sailed because right now every order ships absolutely free. I'm rocking out, man. What do you think?
Angel. All right, we have a quick announcement
Oh boy.
Okay.
Scary.
before we get to Kostaki. So the Android app is currently undergoing testing, the new one.
Testing.
So if you want to be part of that, go to Facebook. I made a post about it, how you can become part of that, or you can just email tombernardpodcast@gmail.com and say, I want to be part of the new Android app, and I'll send you a link, and there you go. It'll be the new stream, and it should come out in about 2 weeks of testing, I believe. The iOS app, I think, is going to be coming out maybe even by Monday, so you can look forward to that.
Exciting.
But you said most of our listeners, how do they get the show?
I think 90% of them are on an iPhone, so that
Really?
when that comes out, that's going to be pretty much all our listeners. But we already have a good amount of people doing the closed test for the
Good.
the new app.
Glad to hear it, ladies and gentlemen. Today's show brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. Live and in studio, Costaki Economopolis at Acme this weekend, correct?
Yeah, 7 and 9:30 tonight, Friday, and tomorrow, Saturday. I'm there. It's great. That club is like a warm hug. The last 2 nights have been such a pleasure. It's great.
Good. Glad to hear it.
What a sweet thing to say.
It's true. It really is. Like, if you talk to all the comics, if you ask them what their top few clubs are, Acme is in the top 5 of all comics everywhere, always.
That is true.
The place is run by a thoughtful comedy nerd mensch. It's got a low ceiling and stone walls and great sound and smart crowds, and the food is actually good. That never happens in a comedy club. The hotel is nice. It's just like it's a pleasure to work. It's nice to be here.
Nah, no question. But my favorite memory of that place, though, is I was there with a friend of mine who was about 6'6", weighs about 325 pounds. We're sitting, and Andy, who was it there? It was Andy.
It was Andy Kindler.
It was Andy Kindler. Yeah, There you go. Andy Kindler's on stage. There's a drunk right next to the stage, and he keeps chirping at Andy Kindler.
Not a good idea.
I will never forget that. And the great thing of it is, I'll do the impression of Andy Kindler looking for me and my friend, because my friend is huge, right? So he's like, this guy walked into a bar, and he goes, he's looking at me like, would you get this guy out of here? So they did tell him to come and get the guy and tell him he had to leave. But then he stayed outside by the front door and hassled everybody that came out the front door. Why would you want to be that drunk and that angry to go to a comedy show?
It's so weird that
it is.
It's not really an outlier, these characters,
I just don't understand. To be that hammered, do you even have a sense of humor if you're that hammered? No.
I think they think they're part of the show or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I was helping. That's the phrase.
Yeah.
I was helping.
Here at the end of those situations sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just
Louie
awful.
Anderson, God rest his soul, he always told young comedians to go to Minneapolis to learn
Yep, he did.
how to do it, because there were so many open mics and the audiences were great. He
Yeah.
said, yeah.
Yeah, it's geography too, but it's almost Canadian. Like, they're just smart and open-minded and willing to go wherever you go. It's edgy is okay, and silly and political and crowd work. I mean, the crowds are like, yeah, let's do it. Whatever it is, we're here for it. It's really nice.
No question about it. God, now you just gave me that memory of Louie Anderson. Every time Louie Anderson got together with my wife, Kathryn Brandt, it was to criticize me.
It's not.
Was too.
It's not all about you, dear.
Kathryn, why is Tom so self-involved? Like, yeah, thanks, Louie. That's really going to help me with my wife now. Oh, look at the name. You see the face you made? See? Right there. That's all I have to say to you. So, Kostaki, you take. When do you go back and start looking at? Do you go back during training camp for the NFL to start looking at how you're going to do your next shows next year?
Well, there's the NFL does such a great job. What a giant billion-dollar business they.
Oh God, yes.
It's round the clock. We have the combine, these guys running around in their underwear and clocking things and, doing interviews. And now we're heading towards free agency. Just today, players are signed and cut, and they do such a good job. And then there's this sort of ongoing sprinkle of news about when the next games are going to be and the schedule release and the
Right.
there's never really an off season. They do such a good job with that. They announced the Colts are going to play in Berlin.
Berlin?
Yeah, that makes sense because that team's hit a wall. You know what I'm saying? Boom.
See?
Right,
God.
A little bit of 1980s humor.
Yeah, there you go.
When did the wall fall?
Reagan demanded that Gorbachev
Tear
tear down
this
that wall.
Yep.
90-ish.
Was it that late?
90.
89, it looks like.
So it said.
God, that was 36
I
years
nailed it.
ago.
89 is 90-ish. I nailed
It is 90.
yes, it is.
I can't disagree. It was,
Certainly it is.
it was
You can't even
mid-November
argue.
89, so it's like, I mean, it's as 90 as you can get without being 90. right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's true.
90-ish. Now, if it was 90, I would have been wrong by saying 90-ish. So
Would've
late
been
89 was
dead on.
perfect.
But I did like tear down this wall.
Yeah.
The way he delivered it was very good, I thought.
Yeah,
He was
and this
an
current
actor.
administration makes me miss Reagan.
I understand. We were just talking about that briefly, and we won't talk about it for very long. I don't hate either one of them, Biden or Trump, and I don't like either one of them, Biden or Trump. I got nowhere to go here, so when people talk politics, I just like it's no matter who you're talking about, it's painful.
I hear you. But the current guy is, I mean, like him or hate him, you have to admit he's not very professional and diplomatic in the way he goes
This is
about
very
things.
true.
No,
So
that's
I miss that about Reagan and Bush and Clinton, etc.
Yeah, watching
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
presidential debates probably the previous election, Trump and Biden, is very interesting because they're like shaking hands and talking about you. Oh, how's your family? Oh, they're doing great.
Right.
How are you feeling lately? Oh, I've been doing great. And now it's like
You're a clown.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
You don't
yeah.
know what you're doing. It's like,
Yeah, I
okay.
feel like in the old days there was a little more
Diplomacy.
respectful diplomacy about the other team.
was the Trump Hillary debate was pretty nasty too, right?
mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
ever since Trump's been on the scene.
Yeah,
it's
basically,
been
2016.
pretty-
Ever since that year, debates have just been like nothing but bickering.
Well, I mean,
Almost 10 years of that already. Interesting.
even not debates. The other night, the president did a speech, and the Democrats wouldn't even stand up, applaud when a little black child was presented who had just basically he was going to die, and they found out he's not going to die. They wouldn't even stand and clap for that. I mean, it's gotten too far, and I'm not blaming either side. It's both
Yeah.
sides that do this crap.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not humane anymore. Would you stop with that?
Yeah, we don't get news from the same source. In the old days, we all listened to Walter Cronkite, and we all
Yeah.
had
Yep.
one sort of basis of conversation. And now there's a giant chasm between what the news is, depending on where you are.
I wasn't there, but I did see the video. He's a young black child, and he's wearing a uniform because he wants to be, I guess, serve the nation. He looked like he's about 11 or 12 years old, something like that. Maybe not even that old. And I don't know the guy who was talking to him. I assume it was a politician. I don't know. But the kid leaned over and put his arms around the guy's neck and gave him a big hug, and I was tearing up for Christ's sake. It's like, oh my God, it was so sweet. But we don't. Our politicians don't care about that anymore. Our politicians, I don't care what side you take. It's all about money. It's money, money, money. That's all they care about.
Yeah.
So back to humor.
I'm looking at the screen here that is in front of me. Alex types, Andy, there's a guy here.
I don't know.
Well, you just sort of look like, a
I
man in black.
I wasn't
I
sure
have-
what to do when I came in. I'm standing behind Andy, but I didn't want to spook him. He's in the middle of doing the show.
I have like the wall to like
Mhm.
how I can see out into the like entry area is like an inch wide. And so I just saw like a figure in black pass
Yeah.
by, and I was
A
like,
figure in
there's some
black.
guy here. And like we've had things where it's like, oh, there was a delivery in the middle of the show, and
Oh,
like
I'm
nobody told me you were going to be on.
Right.
So I was like, there's some guy. I don't know.
Some guy looks pretty
Yeah.
Greek. I don't know what the deal is, but
This
you know.
building is great, by the way. I love
Oh.
this
Oh,
place.
you've never been in there?
I've
Yes, he
been here,
has.
but it's been years ago, and I forgot. Like
Oh.
when I came in, I'm like, oh yeah, and I had some time, and I had breakfast, and I did some work on my phone, and sitting in these cool chairs down. It's nice.
We've been here for quite some time now.
Yeah,
like,
many years
probably
now.
6 years.
It's
Yeah.
been a while, and I've been.
Well,
here.
we
Yeah.
were here. We were
And
on the
then we
fourth
left.
floor,
And then we
and then the fourth floor all got evicted
fifth
simultaneously.
floor.
Was it the fifth?
Yeah.
The
Fifth floor.
yeah.
Because
Whatever.
whoever owned the fifth floor stopped paying their bills, so
So
they were
everybody
just
got kicked out.
Everyone get the hell out.
Oh, that's interesting.
So yeah, we had to go across the street, and we were in this conference room. Remember?
yeah, that was only for a couple months though.
It wasn't for very long,
It
but
was very nice, though.
Yeah, that was somebody who just let us use their
Yeah, he
space.
just let
Very
us. He
nice.
just let us take over his conference room.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
we
we
were
were in
in-
there for a while, and then now we're back here. We've been here
We-
for like probably at least 4 years, right?
Yeah, because we started here. I was pregnant with Sage. I remember when we were in that other room.
And he's
Yeah,
six.
the other room I
And
remember I
he's
was living in
6 years ago
Crystal.
already.
I had been with Melissa for about a year, so yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
My
Yeah, you had
strongest
just
memory.
started. I met Melissa in that other
Oh yeah,
one on the 5th floor. That's where I met
in the
her.
5th floor. Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Jeez.
My strongest
was
memory of the
pregnant.
conference room was, I don't know if you guys remember, but do you remember that one day we were doing the show from the conference room and people kept being like, "What is that smell?" And every so often we'd get this like whiff of something.
Oh dear.
Oh.
And eventually we narrowed it down to what had happened was, so in our crystal house, we had a lot of flies. So I put up one of those like fly trap things. It's basically just like a bag full of garbage water that the flies go into and drown.
Seen those.
And then
You
so
brought it with you to work.
what had happened, unbeknownst to me, and I don't know how we didn't smell this in the car, is Daisy had ripped the bag open and got it all over her. And it's just started basically putrefying on her during the show. And we had to
Wow.
like
Good times.
emergency vacate the dog so we could like scrub her off in the bathrooms.
I'm vaguely remembering this now.
Yeah, that was an interesting day.
Daisy
That was very nice.
You had like, you guys barely knew Daisy and Melissa at the time.
Yeah.
So Melissa was like, "Oh God,
Well, Daisy is,
dumb as hell."
bless her heart, not
She's not the
easiest
smartest dog in the world.
dog to deal with, or the smartest dog.
Well, she is a beagle, and that's how beagles are. Beagles are, I think, the most obstinate dog breed that there is. I think they're like number one in terms of like not doing what you tell them.
Yes, which is
So
an interesting choice. Why people would be like, "I want that dog."
I want that.
They're not
They're
going to listen to
cute.
a word I say.
In
They are
my
cute.
home.
They're cute and they're sort of small, so people think that they'd be a good apartment dog. But they
but
like
as
to
far
run
as
around and
beagles go,
sniff.
Daisy's not too bad. There are some of them.
Yeah,
The problem is like they're not very smart, but they're I don't know, clever.
yeah. They're
Like-
good if they have like a job. Like Fawn just read a book about rescue dogs and like dogs with jobs, and beagles are used to find termites.
Termites.
Yes.
Termites.
Huh.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
like a
there's a
fleet of
thing-
beagles.
the
that,
Beagle
like,
Brigade?
Something I don't know.
There's a thing called the Beagle Brigade that they'll bring into like airports to find contraband and stuff because beagles have like one of the best senses of smell.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like they're really good
But no
at
work
specific
ethic.
things, but everything else they're
Yep.
just kind of
Mm-hmm.
not the best. I feel like every third time I see Daisy, she does something where you're just like really irritated by her.
Oh yeah, she ate Melissa's oatmeal yesterday. Melissa turned her back and Daisy darts over to the oatmeal and eats it. It's like,
Yeah, I
you
remember
really
she
thought
would
you were
be-
gonna get away with
She'd be
this?
on the table at mom and dad's house.
Yeah,
Oh, she ate all the
okay.
Chinese leftovers
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
like left
We
a
left
chair
the
a
room.
little bit untucked.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now back to the show. Costaki, I need some.
People like this.
Yeah.
Kathryn, I need some help from you because this wouldn't be this year, it'd be next year. But this year, Kathryn and I are going to go to England for a week and just kind of hang out. What's the name of that town we're going to again?
We're going to Port Isaac.
Port Isaac. We're going to. Oh, that's right. It was Port When it was Doc Martin was filmed there apparently.
Well, they changed it for the show.
You're going to the place where it was actually filmed?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
interesting.
Because it looks so beautiful. I mean, the scenery looks. But maybe the next year, I have never been to Greece. I want to go to Greece. Have you spent a lot of time in Greece? Have you gone?
You got to
Oh, he
go to
just was
Greece.
there.
Yeah, I was just there. I spent 10 days in Athens over like New Year's week.
Oh, we gotta go. New Year's, isn't it cold?
No,
Not like Minnesota.
I thought that too. It was like 55, 65.
perfect.
Oh,
Oh, that's
It was
nice.
nice. It was
And the
like-
crowds are gone, right?
Yeah, it's a little thin compared to the summer as a crazy zoo. But there were
Yeah.
a lot of European tourists around, sort of not in a super crowded kind of way, but people come from Germany and France. It's a little bit like Europe's Florida, it's like
Yeah.
it's a summery getaway kind of place, and people love the cafe culture. They sit around and have dessert and coffee and talk for hours. And
I love that.
I feel
all
like
outdoors.
Greece would be one of the places that would be a good, like, small cruise ship kind of thing.
Mm.
So you
Oh,
can
yeah.
get out to all the little islands, and if they
Yeah.
would let you spend a lot of time there. not
Right.
Just
The islands
zooming
are
around.
great. And I have to say, I've always been, as a kid growing up, I think this is my mom's point of view. It was always like, let's go to Athens for as little time as possible and spend time on the islands. And I like that point of view. But this year,
okay.
it's the first time we just went to Athens. We just stayed in Athens for 10 days and I loved it.
I wonder how tired the residents of Lesbos are about lesbian jokes.
Yeah, that's
It's got to
true.
be every minute
That's a
of
good
every day.
point.
Every
That
time
is a good
someone
point.
steps
Yeah,
off the cruise ship, they're going to be like, "Where's all the lesbians?" Oh my God. Lesbian love?
Heard there's a colony here.
Oh God, it's magnificent right there. I give you it's because for Kathryn, when she and I it's been a while since we've gone to anywhere in Europe, but
A
one thing
long while.
thing I really like about it is I've never been to a place where people were a pain in the ass or anything like that. Always very, very pleasant. But I love the difference in cultures and all the rest of it. And what even made me think of this, and it has nothing to do with Greece or England. I came in the building a couple of days ago, and there was a young guy there, and he held the door for me, which is very unusual these days that young guys or women will hold the door for someone else, at least in my life. So the guy's holding the door for me. And as I went by, I said, "My God, that's great. Well, thank you very much. You and I might be the only two people left on earth that hold the door for other people." And he goes, "Yeah, well, my mother's Sicilian." So if he didn't hold the door, he'd get his ass kicked when he went home.
Right.
So that's the one thing. I love the cultures. And I think I'd really enjoy the Greek culture, wouldn't I?
Yeah. It's all about food and gregarious.
And yelling.
Yeah. Screaming.
Lots of yelling.
They're loud. They're a loud people. I don't know. Yeah, I love it. I love the food oriented, relaxing, chilling. Here's everything you need to know about Greeks, Tom. When I had a cousin, he inherited about whatever, I don't know. He inherited a condo. And he was able to rent it out for like 20,000 euros a year.
Wow.
And so he didn't buy another condo and keep working. He was like, well, that's all I need to survive. And he quit his job.
Oh,
Really?
What? Is it that
He was
cheap
like,
to live there?
Yeah, this was years ago. But I mean, that's the Greek ethic of you don't live to work, you work to live.
Yeah.
And if you don't
Right.
have to do more
Love
than
it.
you do less. They're very much about skating by and enjoying life.
just live in a barrel wearing a loincloth.
I love it. We have to get there. Like I said, we're going to England in July. Is that when we're going?
Yes.
I didn't even know this.
We just decided a short time ago. Because at Port Wynn, it's great. I don't really think they shot much of the show there. The outside scenes they did, but I think indoors was shot
Well,
somewhere else.
It's very
Let's
tiny.
see.
It's a teensy-weensy fishing village, but there's a whole bunch of towns near it, so it's a nice.
God, the views are just magnificent.
Filmed on location in Port Isaac.
Oh, it was really.
Interior scenes were shot in a local barn that they used as a soundstage, but
Oh,
the
okay.
exterior scenes were actually shot in
Good.
Port Isaac, and his home was a place called Fern Cottage, so you can go see it.
It's still there, and people live in there, and I'm sure they're just so sick of people
Oh, yeah.
standing in front of
It's
their
like-
house.
Yeah.
Doc Martin home.
I remember for years, and I think it still might be happening. So the Breaking Bad house is
Oh,
a
yeah.
real house that people live in. And for years and years, people would drive up to the house and throw a pizza onto the roof.
Oh, man.
Because that's
funny.
something that happened in the show.
Right.
So these people were constantly having to like scrape rotting pizzas off of their roof
No.
for just ages. And I think eventually they were like, "I hate this, I'm leaving," and they just moved.
They did.
Well, yeah.
Well, it's like, imagine just every hour someone drives up to your house and throws a pizza at it.
Yes.
That would be
Well,
tough.
And
yes.
unfortunately, the only way to get out of that would be probably to redo the whole exterior so it looked different, so
Yeah.
nobody cared about
Yeah.
it anymore.
That's what they
'cause
did, I
wouldn't-
think, with the Home Alone house. I think they basically redid the whole thing so it doesn't look anything like it used
so
to.
people aren't pulling up.
Good plan. Take a very quick break. Be right back right after this. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you, get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh is a good friend of mine, so I trust him, so you should too. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice, and I am a paid endorser.
Are we not in the 11:20 break?
What?
11:20.
I know. It's the third break.
Yeah. Josh Arnold and then NABC.
Oh, they're both live? I didn't realize
Josh
that.
Arnold wasn't live, but that's fine. I'm sure he'll be
Oh, okay.
perfectly
So,
happy with that.
okay. So I have that in what?
NABC.
And ABC. So the final break is what then? Because I got
Then
it
it's
back.
Josh live and then Valley Auto.
Okay, so we'll play both just recorded if that's all right with you.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. So wait a minute. I still grabbed the wrong one here. What the hell did I do with it? Talk
One
amongst
must be
yourselves
the
for a
tie break.
minute.
North
You're
American
embarrassing
Banking Company.
all of
With
us.
Where the hell did it go? I had it right here, and I
you give
don't,
them your money and they'll be good with it.
Well, here's
because it's
an
Bilski.
NAB.
Remember,
one.
wait.
Friday
Oh, there you
script.
go. Okay, good. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a second to talk about my bank, North American Banking Company. You've heard me talking about them for a long time now. When they opened in 1998, they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers, where you know your banker and they know you. While a lot has changed since 1998, this commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities has not. So, if you're looking for a better banking experience, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? Go to anybankco.com and stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So now I will never again not print out, because I didn't print out the layout. And it's the first time I've ever not printed it out, and now I know why I always print it out. I remember why I always print out the
Need a
schedule.
map.
So we have a listener in the chat who lives 2 miles from the Walter White House.
Oh,
From
Oh,
Bergen.
really?
wow.
Yep.
Look at that.
Yeah. He says that they had to put a fence around it to
There we
stop
go.
the
I was gonna say
pizzas.
you'd have to do like a you'd have to do a fence.
Yep.
Get
They
some-
had to put a fence around. It was a very high fence, I assume.
I would assume so. And MB
Okay,
in the chat says that yeah, Sandy could go see it because he would just throw crusts up there.
The pizza would all be eaten.
And then the
It'd be
birds
just-
would get it.
And that
Yeah,
would
that's
be-
probably true. Okay, so last is a recorded break. Is that correct, Andy? The last break?
Yeah, we'll do Josh and Valley.
Okay, excellent. Today's show brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. By the way, I'd like to encourage you. What Andy's brought a couple of them up this morning. We love it when you make comments on the stories we read, the things we're talking about, whatever. We absolutely love your input on it, so keep doing it.
Why not visit chatsy.com/Tom Bernard Show to make such comments?
I like it.
Or you can text in 612-361-6622.
And now back to talking about Greece, because I definitely want to go. Now we'll talk about what you're doing in the Twin Cities, and that would be a comedy show.
Yes. Yeah, please come to the Acme Comedy Company. It's one of the great clubs in the country, and your comments are not as welcome there.
I was hoping you were just going to leave it at yes.
Yes.
So good
Yes,
job. You're
yes,
doing a
leave it
comedy
at
show.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
You know, Acme has so many great stories about it, and I won't even say who the comedian was, but the owner, Louis.
Yeah.
Louis is still the owner, isn't he?
Yeah, had dinner with him last night.
How long
Oh,
has
did
he
you
owned
really?
that place?
It's been 33,
Wow.
35 years, something like that.
Did he?
God,
He
it's
didn't
wonderful.
start it, did he?
No, but he sort of rebranded and sort of took the scene in this city to a whole different direction from where it was.
He did.
Yeah, there's actually a book coming out about it. They're doing a book release party at the club here in a couple weeks. A historian / newspaper guy wrote a whole book about Acme.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's coming out here soon. I'm looking for. Apparently, I'm mentioned in it as one of the characters.
Oh, really?
Floating around this place forever.
Like Chad.
Didn't the author book to be on the show, Andy?
Who is this author?
I don't know who the
Couldn't
author
say
is,
his name.
but I know they wanted to have him on the show. That I know.
I've been working this club forever. I said this to a friend of mine. This is how long I've been working this club. I got the results from my first AIDS test on the payphone in the lobby.
And it was a good sign, I hope.
Yes, it was good news.
Glad to
in
hear
the
it.
old days, you would call. I had a new girlfriend, and we both got tested. And then, I happened to be at Acme. The payphone there is long gone. There's no such payphone.
Right,
You
right.
just said, see, honey, there's no downsides to heroin.
I remember calling it, and if I remember right, you would get a recorded message if it was good news, and if it was bad news, they would transfer you to a counselor.
Oh.
Can you imagine that's how you find out you have
Oh,
AIDS?
goodness.
Yeah.
But I remember everybody
I know.
got tested back in those days, and
Well, back then it was a death sentence.
Yeah, that's
You got
It was
AIDS,
a
it
death
was
sentence.
pretty
It
much
was
dead.
very bad news to be transferred
it
to
was.
a counselor.
man, we lost a couple of friends to AIDS. As a matter of fact, I will never forget that.
Oh yeah, this is
It
scary,
just-
scary time.
It was most definitely. So yes, you got the results in the lobby. That's nice.
The lobby of a comedy club.
I would have probably
Lobby of a
waited.
comedy club.
I mean, what if you did get transferred and then you had to go on stage?
Oh,
Right,
Yeah,
Hey.
it's I don't know.
No.
professional comedian. You gotta handle whatever the ups and downs. You're not in a good mood. Tough.
Every time you talk about Acme Comedy Club, I think of Chad Daniels.
Yeah.
Oh, what he
Every
said, yes.
single
Oh,
time.
absolutely.
Because
here last
Louis Lee was smoking a cigarette, and he's talking to Chad Daniels. Chad Daniels, headliner. I can't get that out of my mind.
I
thought
agree
that
with
was
you.
so damn funny.
That was hilarious.
And now-
Oh,
Headliner.
Alex has to go. She's got her other job. All right, Alex, we'll talk to you on Monday.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, you
Love
will.
you. Bye.
will.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo, she
Right,
goes.
so
with.
MB in the chat, Patrick Strait. It's called Funny Thing About Minnesota.
Okay.
Patrick Strait being the author.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna book. He wanted to be booked to be on the show, but he never reached out. Huh?
That sounds familiar. I can try again.
Yeah, try again. 'Cause, yeah, he wanted to come on the show and talk
Probably
about
on
it. I know
social
that.
media.
Yeah, he wrote a
Yes.
prior book about the comedy scene in Minnesota, and this one is like the next chapter of the
Right.
I mean, unless Funny Thing About Minnesota is the old one.
This one's just about Acme, isn't it? The new one is just about Acme, I believe. But they reached out to me and asked to be booked on the show. That's why I'm surprised that
Well, do you still have the text or the email?
I do not
I don't
know.
think so.
The one thing I have to tell the people who are watching this show while they're listening to it, the tallest person in this group looks like he's the shortest person in the group.
Yeah, you've got a chair. Your chair is very low for some reason.
I think it's
I think they're adjustable.
It's the angle.
I'm the new guy. I haven't sorted out how.
The
that
new
was
is.
book is
hilarious.
called Home Club, Up and Comers and Comebacks at Acme Comedy Company.
Oh, there you go.
So there
When
you
is
go.
it?
That's what to look for. Home Club. Up
Home
and Comers
Club.
and Comebacks at Acme Comedy Company.
That would be a
Yeah,
great.
if you could reach out, because I know he wanted to be on, and I thought it was all set up. But yeah, if you'd reach out, Andy, and book him, that'd be great.
Do we even
Well, he's
have
going
a
to be doing the book
contact?
release event on the 26th at Acme. So
26th, okay.
Do
yes.
we even have a contact at Acme anymore?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
I can connect you. I know some people over there.
Yeah, I know people.
Costaki says to get on our show. Oh, yes, sir.
Whatever you say, there's no question about it. Yeah, I mean, so
I've been coming there for years. This is how I used to drive to gigs from Atlanta. I would drive all over the
oh
place.
my God.
And sometimes I stopped at Acme on the way to a gig from Atlanta. That's how far I used to drive. I had a gig in North Dakota.
Oh, yeah.
I
That
think
makes
it was
sense.
Grand Forks used to have the crazy gig up there.
Well, there's only
Oh,
one
yeah.
road there, so, you know.
And I was coming through town and I did a guest set and they booked me and it was great. And they booked me to middle. I came back and I middled at Acme and Louis didn't say boo to me the whole week. So I
Oh,
thought,
God.
oh, it's not going well. I better take a picture. I'll never see this place again. And then on the last night, he paid me and he goes, "We thought you did a great job. We're going to bring you back to middle one more time. And then we're thinking about headlining you after that." And I was like,
Whoa.
that's great.
Wow.
Oh, good. Shoo.
Much better endorsement than Chad Daniels.
Much better endorsement, exactly. Well, Chad was just there, as a matter of fact, a week or two ago, and he
sold out
did-
every show. Chad's doing big theaters now. He's having a great run.
That's what I
Yeah.
understand. Yep.
It's nice
You
to
know,
see.
Louie Anderson used to go up to Winnipeg all the time, and I was always like, Winnipeg? How
Yeah.
many people are there? There's
I
an
did
actual.
Winnipeg. Yeah.
It's not
Really?
as small as you would think. Just because no
Winnipeg's
one ever
great.
talks about it doesn't mean it's that small.
I love Canadian crowds. They're so like kind. They,
Oh, that's nice.
the only downside is that sometimes if you do a joke, they perceive to be mean.
Yeah.
They're like, I can't laugh at that. That's not nice.
Oh, wow.
Winnipeg has, let's see, the city proper. I want to compare this. So these
The only
numbers
thing I know
mean
about
something to us.
Winnipeg is they've got a big hockey tournament.
It's also
that
what
goes
Winnie
through
the Pooh's
there.
named after.
I was there in the summer, and they do. There's every time you blink, there's a festival because it's they have a relatively short window of
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, like 3 weeks.
Yeah. So the summers are a festival fest. It's every weekend is something.
Well, the city proper of Minneapolis has 430,000 people.
Okay.
The city proper of Winnipeg has 750,000 people.
What?
Really?
The actual downtown area of Winnipeg is bigger significantly than
That
Minneapolis.
is shocking.
It's
That
just
is
they don't
shocking.
have anything around it.
Yeah, there might be a
So
little
the
more
metro area
concentrated.
for Minneapolis is 3.7 million. But the metro area for Winnipeg is 850,000.
Oh, really?
Oh.
So
Like either
that's
you
why.
live in Winnipeg or you don't live anywhere near
Well,
Winnipeg.
it's probably dangerous to stray too far from
I
the
think
little
city
chilly.
center. Too
rather
cold.
cold, yeah.
That was a nice job getting all those numbers together.
Oh, Andy's good at that. He's
What
very
I
good at
do-
stats.
Yeah, that's nice because it's okay. So it's more concentrated in the middle of town, but it's a much smaller metro area.
Yeah.
Still pretty
Good job.
small, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the thing? That's how Canada is, though. It's like either you live in a city right next to the border, or it's like you don't live there.
Yeah.
Because Canada's enormous.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
It's like 95% completely empty.
It
Right.
is.
It's about 1/10 of our population, right?
Its population of California, I believe, is comparable.
Okay.
But then
You guys just gave me a great memory. Got to go to break here in a second, but there's who was it again? I can't remember who it was that was traveling. They were up, I believe, near Canada, if not in Canada. Louie Anderson, and I can't remember who he was with, but they stopped by. By the way, and Louie was asked by the other, who the hell was that with the Krispy Kreme donuts? You remember that,
Oh,
Kathryn?
Scott,
Hansen. That's exactly who it was. It was Scott Hansen. So Scott Hansen and Louie are traveling around. Scott stops by Krispy Kreme right after Louie told him, "I'm on a diet. I can't eat anything like that. So don't buy anything, donuts or anything, because I can't eat. I'm on a diet." So he shows up with a crate of donuts.
Oh, God.
And Louie goes, "I told you I can't eat. Go put that back in the car." So Louie said he woke up at 2:00 in the morning. He's gone his way to the bathroom, looks out the window, and Scott Hansen is in the car eating the donuts at 2:00 in the morning.
I love the Louie impression. I want to hear your next live read as Louie Anderson.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Today's show is brought to you by Mr. Money Talk. Kathryn, don't you think Tom's kind of a pain in the ass?
yes,
But
I do.
Kathryn, it was all, he would always go to get, spent a lot of time at our, and by the way, I always point this out because I loved it so much. Louie Anderson was a saint to my mother.
He sure was.
Oh,
My
yeah.
mother loved Louie Anderson. He loved her. And
Yeah. Toots, how many tickets do you need to my show? Oh, 15, 20?
I don't remember that.
You'd give them to her.
We'll take one more break, come back with Costaki, Economopolis, and Acme tonight and tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. Today's show brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation, 952-925-5608. We'll be right back and wrap things up with Costaki in studio right after this. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? You know, inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. You know, during that whole break, a little sad moment for me because, you know, it dawns upon you that neither Scott Hansen nor Louie Anderson is still alive. They're both gone. That's so sad. Those two, when they would be around at when we used to be in the Acme building, up there, those two were always around and they were always battling about something. But we love you both, Scott and Louie. We miss you and love you both, man. It was a wonderful experience being around those two when they were together.
Yeah, I had a really nice weekend with Louie. He kind of hosted a festival in Nebraska that I did years ago.
Okay.
And he was kind of buddies with my ex at the time. He and Caroline knew each other.
Sure, yeah.
And he was such a genuine, like, sweet, nice person. You know, I'd met him a couple times in other situations with Caroline, and it was cool to, like, really hang with him for the weekend and, you know, do comedy and all the little before and after moments of goofing around that comics do. And he was great. He was a real sweetheart. He's also a crazy good comic. You know, he was really fun to watch. Yep. And if you watch like the old, I happened to see it for I was researching something and I ran across it. I watched his first Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Mm-hmm. It's so tightly written. The jokes are so beautifully efficient. You know, like the one that stands out to me was he was talking about doing some of these things at like a school athletic event. And he goes, I did the broad jump, killed her. It was that level of efficiency for the whole set. It was like, there's so few words and it was just so beautifully done. The writing was great.
You know, another one of my favorite Louie moments. We're out in Vegas when the KQ Morning Show went out to Vegas several years in a row. And I think it was one of the first one or the second time we went out. And Louie calls, because he's obviously living in Vegas most of his career. He calls Kathryn and says, Kathryn, pick me up in front of the hotel. We'll go to dinner. So we pull up in front of the hotel. Here comes Louie in the ugliest shirt I have ever seen in my life. And Kathryn, you can take over because you were staring at him with this look on your face.
Well, he was also under like, those marquee lights. So it was just like, the light from God on this huge striped shirt. And he's a huge person.
Yeah.
So it just didn't do him any favors is what I was thinking. It's not so much that the shirt was that ugly. It was just not doing Louie any favors.
The greatest thing.
And he looks at my face. He's like, what? What is it, the shirt? And I'm like, yes. He's like, I bought it. I've worn this on stage. I'm like, I'm sorry, you should not wear that shirt. So he had it stuffed.
And sent it to us. Where
I
is
never-
that shirt now?
I don't know.
I think that thing's long gone.
Oh,
I mean,
why?
it was a shirt full of fluff. It was never
Yeah, it
designed
was
to
like,
last.
what are you
It was
gonna do?
Louie's.
What are you gonna do with this?
Yeah, it's.
I will never forget the
I
look
remember
on
we
his
had
face.
that thing in the Golden Valley house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, he could tell the minute I looked at him that it was the shirt.
What?
He was very sensitive, that one.
He was.
Yes, he was.
You couldn't get away with thinking something without him vibing on it.
First time we ever met him, again, out in Las Vegas. We were at Treasure Island at the first trip out there. And all of a sudden we hear this huge commotion. And speaking of it, and it just popped into my head again, here comes Louie Anderson with about 40 boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts for the audience.
That man loved a donut.
He loved a donut. He brought in, honest to God, about 150 to 200 donuts. I don't know what it was, but come wheeling them in on a cart. I really do. That's the one thing about this business, Costaki, that does bother me. All the people you do meet, actors, comedians, all the rest of it, athletes, and then you lose them, and it just never leaves you because you remember sitting in studio with them having just a ball.
Right. I was, talking to Lewis last night, and a lot of the characters that we kind of were asking each other about, they're retired. I mean, these guys are at least still alive, but they're retiring from the business. Like they're going. Miller, Rich Miller, who ran the Knuckleheads,
Right.
Oh, right.
Yep.
and was a part. I mean, like he and Lewis really were great at building the community here. They originally, when they first were in business, they were competing businesses in the same market, but they agreed to let all the locals work both clubs, and they sort of had this sort of quiet agreement to try to not book gigantic names opposite each other, and they really like handled it with real grace.
Yep.
In a way that very few clubs do. I mean, usually when there's two comedy clubs in a market, they're biting each other and they're terrible. And you get the poor local acts have to pick one. So like Rich retired. He's done with the business. And TJ Markwalter, who's a longtime agent at Omnipop and Gersh, he retired too. I don't know, he's got to be my age, So some of these guys go away professionally, and then some of them go away permanently too. And
Yep.
you miss them. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we were just, Nick Swartzen was in town down here last week. And
For a week, by the way.
we spent some time with him, and his schedule just sounds grueling.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he's busy.
he just
Yep.
tours and tours and tours. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, right. Wait, it was Lewis Black who once said to me, because I hung out with him. I knew him a little bit before he was famous, and then a little bit after, And we were hanging one time, and he goes, the thing about show business, when you finally make it, all you really want is a nap.
Yeah.
There you go.
Imagine.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, and I mean, so many comedians, movie stars, anybody, athletes. I mean, their window of being able to make money, you have no idea how long it is.
Right.
I mean, you really
Right.
don't. There's not that many comedians that are around for 40 years.
Yeah, and the breaks are sometimes fluky, and you better embrace it and have a run. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Costaki, always a great pleasure to see you. We get when do we get you back on again? I suppose it's not until like September.
Yeah, we should talk. Maybe there's a free agency thing here soon, and I'm going to Green Bay for the draft, so maybe we could talk.
Are
about
you
that.
really?
Yeah, my brother and I love going to the draft. It's so fun. There's no ticket. There's no game. You can't lose. You wear your Falcon jersey and you wander around and talk to football nerds.
There you go.
Everyone knows what the other teams are. It's so fun to like talk football with a bunch of nerds. I love it.
Well, I will tell you this.
Bring up the new merch store that I'm hoping Mom told you about.
I did not. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Oh,
What?
Okay.
What are you talking about?
We have
I told you yesterday.
merch
You
now.
did not.
Yes, I did.
No, she didn't.
Yes, I did.
Apparently
lying.
Mom didn't know about this.
All right, so what is it?
It is, let's see. Well, the URL itself is not the friendliest URL in the world. It's tom-bernard-podcast-merch.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Dash smash.
I'm gonna need more dashes.
So
Exactly.
I don't expect anyone to actually type that in manually.
Well, we can put that on the website, can't we?
But yes, I will be putting that up. I'll put it up on Facebook probably when I get home
Yeah, all the
today.
socials.
We've got 2 different kinds of hats. We've got a vinyl bumper sticker decal thing, and we've got mugs.
Nice.
So if you want to go check that out, get some of your Tom Bernard podcast merch, you can do that now.
You know what I love? Whenever you get quiet for a moment to actually discuss something like that, you can hear Jude snoring in the background.
Yeah, he's relaxed.
He's very relaxed at
This
this
one's
point.
relaxed.
Kostaki, can't wait to see you in person again one of these years, I hope.
Yeah. It's good to talk to you guys. Thanks for having me on. You've always been great. I appreciate it.
Well,
And
I'll tell
your
you
shows
what.
are when? Little-
7 and
promo.
9:30 Friday and Saturday this weekend at Acme. I got koozies if you want to buy some koozies.
Ooh,
Oh, there you go.
koozies.
You just have to go to Kostaki-Economopolis.
Dash.
Comedy
Dash.
Dash,
Exactly. No, it's shows like these, Kostaki, that everybody asks me how many more years you're going to do it. I might never stop because it's shows like this that I just love. You talk
That's
about
great. That's a
people
nice
you
compliment.
know, you have a good laugh. It's wonderful. I
yeah.
love it.
I actually talked to Lewis about this yesterday. I go, what's your exit strategy? He goes, you know what? I don't work as many hours as I used to, and I still love it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm like,
Yeah,
cool.
there you go.
That's great.
Makes sense. All right, Kostaki, all the best to you, and Andy will talk to you on Monday.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Every time I hear the same reminds me how you talking.